Hi everyone, today I thought it would be fun to go through my makeup bag to talk through what I use most commonly and how I do my makeup for castings. I'll talk through all of the products I use, I'll show you how I apply them, and this is the final look. It's like a very glowy, natural, my face but better look. And if you're interested in seeing how I got here, then keep on watching. So I have my bare face and my just washed hair. First things first, if I have time, I will put my hair in some rollers because it generally gives my hair a little bit more volume and it still looks quite natural. So I am gonna go ahead and do that. And I have a mirror behind the camera, so I'm just looking there. Just sectioning first my front pieces. And I'm still very new to all of this, so don't even know that I'm doing this correctly. And I think I will figure out the best ways to do this as I put my hair into rollers more and more frequently. Yeah, the problem I get when I do rollers is sometimes the front pieces come down like that. And I think it's because I took too thick of a piece, but yeah, I don't know. And then I usually go in on the sides. I might just go ahead and do this piece over again because it's really annoying. Okay, hopefully that stays. I don't know if that'll stay. And I know that some people will generally blow dry their hair before they put the hair into rollers, but that just takes way too much time. I feel like this already takes up enough time as it is, so I can't be bothered. I also don't know how to do it, so this is what we're working with. So that's pretty much it. I generally have some strands left over just because I don't have enough rollers. They're the under layers and no one can really tell, so I just leave them. It doesn't really matter. I'll probably hang out like this just for a little bit to let the curl set, and then I'll come back and do my makeup in a little bit. So I've let these sit on my head for like 20 to 30 minutes, and I think after I finish putting on my makeup, it should be enough time and I'll take them out. So I'm going through my everyday / casting makeup look. I have a pretty minimalistic makeup bag. This is like pretty much all I have. I use the same products over and over with slight variations. And I'll talk through each product as I apply it. Just going in the typical order that I usually do, which is eye primer first. Also, I have already done my skincare and put on my sunscreen. So I'm using the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I had switched over from the Urban Decay one, and I think it works decently well. While that dries, I am gonna put on my blush. So I'm gonna move some of these rollers a little bit. I'm using an angled brush to buff that out. I'm using the Rare Beauty in the shade Love, but I also like mixing this other shade, which is Virtue. I like to put this just on the apples, and it's a little bit lighter, kind of like a dusty pink. And I feel like it just gives the cheeks a little bit more dimension. Okay, and then I'll put the rest on my nose, just blend it across my face. Now that the primer is dry, I'm going to use my eyeshadow palette. This is the only one I have, and it's the Raw Mand It's called Better Than Palette number 2, Mahogany Garden. And it's just a bunch of neutral tones with some shimmers. I mostly stick with the neutral tones, and sometimes I'll use the shimmers if I just want to add a little pizzazz. I generally use a mix of these 2 browns, just the 2 lighter brown shades. I use that all over my eyelid. So I just bring it a little bit above the crease, and then I'll use a fluffy brush to blend that out later. And then a fluffy brush with no product on it. I just buff out the edges. I do usually a gradient look. So the first layer I use a mix of these 2, but then the second layer I might use a mix of these 3. And again, using the fluffy brush to blend it out. I want to define my lash line a little bit more, so I'm just using the darkest brown. Other side. If I want to be a little bit more natural, I will skip on eyeliner. But for most castings, I might just do a super thin line with a baby wing. And if I mess up, generally it's okay because my mascara will help hide it. Just adds a little bit of depth, I like it. This is the Heroin Make Smooth Liquid Liner. I find that Asian mascara and Asian eyeliners work really well for me. They don't smudge as easily, and they generally last a really long time. Okay, and then I'm curling the lashes before I put on my mascara. This is the micro mascara, so it has a super thin brush. It's advanced film, which I think means that it will stay on longer. A lot of the packaging is in Japanese, so I don't fully understand it all the time. I just kind of try different ones and see which ones work best for me. I really like this one though because of the thin brush, and I have pretty short, straight eyelashes. This is waterproof, so it does a really good job of holding my curl. And curling the other side. Yeah, with this tiny wand, I can just get into all of the lashes pretty easily. For a long time, I used Western mascaras. I think they did pretty well. For a really long time was using the L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara, but I feel like it would smudge at the end of the day all underneath my eyes, which was really unfortunate because I loved that mascara. Eyes are pretty much done. I generally stay with pretty matte eyeshadow because I want to be as natural as possible when I go to eye casting. So next up, I'll contour a little bit, and I'm using the Fenty Contour Matchstick in the shade Mocha. It looks like this. I'm just gonna do a subtle swipe on each cheek, and then if I want more, then I'll just use my brush to dip back into it like this. This product I feel lasts for a really long time, and I like to blend it into my hairline. At some point I do my eyebrows, and I use the Brow Powder Duo in the shade Dark Brown from Anastasia. This one I've also been using for a really long time. And I generally use the lighter color of the Duo. I'm just filling in my brows like that. It's nothing too crazy. And then I'll also set it with this e.l.f. Brow Lift Gel. It's a dupe for the Anastasia one. I first comb it through. I think it's okay. I don't know that it lasts the whole day. Brows were never that big of a deal for me, so it's fine. I like to brush them up diagonally. And I don't know if it's specifically a thing with my brows, but I feel like my brows have never been really good at staying up, regardless of which product I've used. I just bought the spoolie that comes with it. It's the e.l.f. Brow Lift Applicator. I have some stuff to conceal. So I have the Glossier Stretch Concealer in G6. This is what it looks like. I generally will conceal the inner and outer corners of my eye. I have some spots today, so I'm just gonna go in and just stipple them over my acne scars. And some here as well, which I might blend again with my contour. Going in closer to make sure that they're all blended out. I like to powder pretty quickly after that to set it. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. And I actually really like this powder. I think it does a really good job of blurring everything. If I have a particularly active breakout, I will just use my ring finger and then pat the powder directly on the breakout. And I think it does a really good job of blurring. Just going over anywhere I powdered. At this point, I am going to remove my rollers and I'll put on the finishing touches. This is always the best part. I know my technique can definitely improve, but we'll get there little by little. And then the final one, sometimes when I'm really lazy, I just do my bangs, or at least my front pieces. Whoa, okay. So it's just a lot more, it has more oomph compared to when I don't have these in. Okay, now I am going to go in with some contour on my forehead because I don't really have the ability to do that with my rollers in. Let's just bring this up toward the hairline. Finally, I'm gonna repowder my forehead because I know I'm quite shiny over there. We can't forget highlighter. So for highlighter, I like more of a lit from Within Glow. I'm using the Glow Screen from Supergoop. It's a sunscreen, but this is a glowy sunscreen. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on the high points where I want some natural illumination. And on the other side. And then for the eyes, I have the NYX Jumbo Stick. This is in the shade, I think it's Champagne, but I can't see it here. I must not be looking at the right spot, I don't know. Usually they say it, but I just put that right in the inner corner to brighten. We're just doing the final details right now. I like using just a black liner to tightline my upper lash line. And then the final touch, the last thing, I promise. I like to line my lips with this NYX lip pencil in the shade Nutmeg. And it's just like a My Lips But Better color. And I'll shade in just a little bit also, so there's a bit of a gradient. This is something that I've discovered quite recently that I really like. And then I'll also just like blot on some of this Charlotte Tilbury, it's called Pillow Talk in medium. So it's like the slightly darker shade than the original. I just blot it on like that. So this is my final look. If I go into castings where they just want to see me, see how I fit the clothes, or maybe take some pictures of me, then this is the typical makeup I do. And of course, if it's a makeup casting and they want my skin bare, then I just go in with no makeup. And that's it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.